ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Wednesday, March 19th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Thanks for making us a part of your day here. We're going to be keeping an eye on for you the Marshall, Ohio softball game. That's getting underway here in just mere moments. So we'll keep an eye on that as you head home. And, of course, let's hope for the Thundering Herd to get the win. Busy day. I know we say that a lot, but we got a busy day. So let's get right into it. Of course, yesterday we had First Four action, and we'll have it again tonight here on the radio dial. As yesterday, it was North Carolina. No problem with San Diego State, 95-68. And, of course, I'm sure there were a lot of people from the Mountain State rooting against North Carolina, but North Carolina advances. Alabama State, really entertaining game, actually. 2-point victory over St. Francis, 70-68. You might not think these are games that are worthwhile, but that was an entertaining game last night. Tonight, we've got Mount St. Mary's versus American. That's going to tip off about 6:40. We go on the air at 6:30 with that one. And then Xavier versus Texas. I'm actually interested in this one. That's coming up tonight. That will follow. It's tentatively set for a 9:10 tip. And, of course, the NCAA tournament getting underway in earnest tomorrow. Our coverage begins right at noon. If you can't get out of the office tomorrow, you can't get out of the office on Friday, we got you covered. From noon all the way to your bedtime, we got you covered with all of the action. We'll be going around the country nonstop, all the best action on your radio dial so you can keep an ear on it. You got to be out in the car somewhere. You've got to be in the office. You can't keep an eye on the games. We got you covered. We do that every year. Home of March Madness, including the championship, is ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And then, of course, the NIT. How about Arkansas State representing the Sun Belt? 103-78 victory over St. Louis. So the Red Wolves will either play North Texas or Furman. And that one's coming up tonight. So I know I'm not rooting for Furman. I'm not rooting for North Texas. That's one of those difficult games where if you want to pick a team out of interest, which one do you pick? Of course, North Texas would probably be the one that I would lean toward just a little bit, but Furman, absolutely not. I would never root for Furman, and I really don't want to be told that I rooted for the Purple Paladins ever in my life. That's just how far we go back with those Southern Conference days. I didn't like Furman then, don't like Furman now, never going to like Furman. I don't know too many people that do like Furman. I know a guy that played at Furman. He knows who he is. He's probably listening. If not, he'll find out I'm talking about him. Comes up to me all the time, talks about Furman. Like, I don't know. I like you, but I don't want to talk about Furman because then I'm not going to like you. So let's just pretend that you didn't play at Furman. I'm not going to talk to you about your Furman days because then I'm not going to like you because you played for Furman. It's one of those situations. Absolutely. I cannot stand the Purple Paladins. Is there a team that you just can't stand? Just from years ago, as a Marshall fan, is there that team you just can't stand? You don't want them to succeed in anything. Only thing you want them to succeed at is world peace. Other than that, you want them to fail miserably at everything. Is there that team for you? For me, there's a list, there's a group. Furman's among those teams. Not a big fan whatsoever. I'm sure there are a few more. EKU, for example, there have been times where I couldn't stand EKU. Absolutely. See, I like Chattanooga. I love playing against them. But Furman's just one of those teams for me. But they're in action. So I'm rooting against North Texas or Furman. Doesn't matter. I'm taking Arkansas State. I'm on board. Sunbelt team, I'm on board. Let's go Arkansas State. And, of course, yesterday, that school up north looking for a new head basketball coach, Darian DeVries, leaving Morgantown after a season, becoming the head coach at Indiana. DeVries led the Mountaineers to a 19-13 record this season, of course, falling in the Big 12 tournament to Colorado and then not making the NCAA tournament, which created a firestorm and the governor of the great state of West Virginia to launch an investigation into the NCAA's handling of the selection process. And I saw a few people take some really low-hanging but funny shots at Coach leaving, more so at the governor. There were several people that just basically said, is Patrick Morrissey going to sue Indiana now? I'm surprised that had not come up yet. We're going to sue Indiana for tampering with our coach. Texter writes in, I'm glad I got this one. The late Woody Woodrum despised Furman, so there is no way I pull for Furman. I appreciate that text. Every time I hear Furman, I think of Woody and just him twitching. Every time you had mentioned Furman, you didn't even wear purple around him. He had like this allergic reaction to the color purple, not only the movie, but the actual color, because anything that was purple. I mean, he was a big fan of the Joker. He liked the comic books. He was a big fan of the Joker, but even then, I'm sure he was like, that purple, that's the problem. Oh yeah, he despised Furman. He also despised Appalachian State. He always called them the goons from Boone. And I looked at Woody. I'm like, Woody, you can't say that. I don't. Yeah, tell him. Try telling Woody you can't say something. Woody, you can't say that. You can't say we're going to have people on from Appalachian State. You can't just go calling them the goons from Boone. Yeah, you couldn't stop him whatsoever. So yeah, Furman's one of those teams. That was what we agreed on when we became friends. Hey, look, you hate Furman. Hey, so do I. Absolutely hate Furman. Appreciate the thoughts and the memory there. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Score update, Marshall softball. We're in the middle of the first now. Ohio starts out scoreless, so the Herd will be at bat. Hopefully the Herd can get it done. Again, Marshall taking on Ohio. We'll keep an eye on that score for you as you make your way to wherever you're going on this drive home. And we'll get your text in this hour as well. You can do that at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Our text line brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Again, let me give that text line one more time, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. As you can tell, I'm stalling because the button's not working. Here we go. Finally, we got that working. More coming up on this edition of The Drive. It is ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
At Poca Valley Bank, a handshake can still mean the start of a great relationship. We've been greeting customers with a handshake since 1908. Why settle for less? If you're purchasing your first home or planning for your future, Poca Valley Bank is here to support you with personalized service and local expertise. They are your trusted advisors. Why settle for less when you can experience banking with a team that truly cares? Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Visit PocaValleyBank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year for March basketball. Frank's has you covered from the Sun Belt to the SEC, NBA to the MLB. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
I'm Nori, and when I was young, my mom opened our home to someone who needed a secure and safe place. She taught him what it was like to have someone care about you, having dinner at home or going out to eat together.
In West Virginia, families open their homes every year to adult family care.
Some folks need a little extra help, but everybody deserves a family.
Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
We asked kids what it took to be a dad. This is what they had to say.
A father is always present. I mean, what real father figure can you have if they're not there?
In order to be a good dad, you need to love your son. You need to put gas in your car so you don't break down in the middle of nowhere. And you need to make them breakfast. Yep.
I mean, just to maybe play like a board game with me, or to just stay home and play some video games with me. Just to do like that one little thing is what I really look forward to.
I'm not asking him to be a perfect dad, but he should try.
He's just a constant force in my life.
There's no other type of love like a dad's love because it's not comparable to anything else.
Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
Welcome back to this Wednesday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour, it's brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. Open for anything today, 304-396-TALK. And again, that's 304-396-8255. We're also keeping an eye on Marshall and Ohio. That's going on right now. Just started not that long ago. We're in the bottom of the first, and there's 2 outs. Marshall and Ohio scoreless. Bottom of the first, 2 outs. Hopefully the Herd can get things rolling. We'll keep an eye on that one as the hour progresses. But until then, we'll keep the text line open. We got a lot of basketball to start talking about. We've got NCAA action coming up tonight. We've got the tournament proper tomorrow. Are you excited? March Madness is finally here. Then the Wildcats are in action on, this is Friday. It's going to be 7:10. 5:30 is going to be our airtime on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. And, of course, we'll have that also on the radio dial right here, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. That's going to be part of our overall coverage. As I'm not sure if you're familiar, if you've never listened to our basketball coverage from Westwood One, if you're familiar with the Red Zone channel, think of it as the radio version of the Red Zone channel. Where the good action is where they're going to take you. They're all over the country. They've got crews at all the games. So should be fun. And the reason I'm excited about that game is I know I'm going to make a lot of you mad, but I'm okay with that. I'm rooting for Troy to upset Kentucky. I'm absolutely rooting for Troy to knock out Kentucky because I want the Sun Belt to win games. I want to see Arkansas State go far in the NIT. I want to see Troy go far in the NCAA tournament. And, of course, the NIT is right now not one of my favorite tournaments because of the shenanigans that it conducted with South Alabama, giving them an invite, then rescinding that invite. I'm still not letting that one go. But tournaments have begun, and I'm hoping that Arkansas State will run through this thing. I want Arkansas State to win the NIT. I know it's highly unlikely that Troy will win the NCAA tournament. I want Arkansas State to go in there and just win the whole NIT and have at least a little bit more swagger to this conference come next year. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is our text line to be a part of the program today here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Let's go back to the text line. Oh, this is a good one. I appreciate this. Texture says, 2, Woody once said that he would root, I guess you're saying he would root for communist Red China against Miami of Ohio. Also, my favorite 2 NFL teams are the Raiders and whomever is playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I appreciate that. I remember him saying that. Absolutely. I believe it, too. Now, this was something I used to say in my youth as a younger sports talk host. I've mellowed out a little bit over the years. I'm still in that mellowing out process. I was a little feistier as a younger talk show host, but I once said that I would root for the Taliban over the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Woody and I are well aligned on some of these things. But I do remember him saying once that he would root for communist Red China against Miami of Ohio. I would root for the Taliban over the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's how I am. That's that team for me. Actually, it's the entire division. I'm a Bengals fan, so it's the entire division. It's Baltimore, it's Pittsburgh, it's Cleveland, it's Houston, old and new. Old as in Tennessee. I don't like Tennessee because that's the old Houston Oilers to me. It's new Houston because it's Houston. I'm not separating the two just because the team left and then you got a new one. Also, the Washington Commanders, not a big fan of them just because I know some of those fans, and let me tell you, not a fan. And I'll leave it at that. I don't want to say nasty things about people, but not a huge fan there. And then, of course, it's the 49ers. Can't stand them either. Not a big fan. I could never root for the 49ers over anything. I would root for the Pittsburgh Steelers to win the Super Bowl against the 49ers. That's how bad I just don't like the 49ers whatsoever. So ultimately, I would hope for, if you listen to the show a long time, Woody and I, had a lot of fun together, and he was a big fan of the movie The Dark Knight with Christian Bale as Batman and Tom Hardy as Bane. And there's that scene where the entire football field, Heinz Field, was being used as the stand-in for, I guess, the Gotham football field, and it was imploded. And I always hope that would happen in real life to the stadium, not people inside of it. I did qualify that and say I just hope that the stadium would implode one day. I don't want anybody harmed, but that's just how much I don't like the Pittsburgh Steelers. That I hope one day that their stadium implodes. But again, we had a lot of fun. A lot of this is in jest. Obviously, we have our favorites that we root for. We have our favorites that we root against. So do you have that one team that you just can't stand? Absolutely. I mean, it's low-hanging fruit for some of you, but is there that one team that you just cannot root for? You would root for the end of the world before you would root for that team? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. For some of you today, if you're a Mountaineer fan, it's probably North Carolina. For others of you, it might be Indiana today. As we mentioned earlier, West Virginia now looking for its third new head coach in as many years as Darian DeVries. Left Morgantown. They're already taking the signs down and everything. Had the presser earlier today. And that job used to be one of the more prestigious basketball jobs in the country. It's fallen on hard times. I know Ren Baker was making the case today. I mean, he's going to make a case for West Virginia. That West Virginia over the last, 25 years, I think, or at least a certain time span, has had more success on the basketball court, has been more of a powerhouse, more prestigious than Indiana. There's nothing wrong with that West Virginia basketball program. It's been very successful over the years, but you're just talking about, I don't care if Indiana is having 15 terrible years. That's still Indiana. You're going from the Big 12 to the Big 10 for one, and that's royalty, or was basketball royalty. I mean, that's the Hoosier state. I mean, they didn't make a movie about West Virginia basketball. They made a movie about Indiana basketball. Called it Hoosiers. Great film. They didn't make that film about Mountaineer basketball. Not going to. That's just, we're talking, there are levels here to this. In Indiana basketball, I mean, if you're the head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers and you can make that program win, that's where you want to be. To our text line we go. Here's one. I like this one. Texter says, Paul, it is Duke for me. I'm a fan of whoever is playing them, thanks to Christian Laettner. Go UK tomorrow night. That still stings. I was in college when that happened. I was at Marshall because I remember that well. There are people who still hate Christian Laettner to this day. Are you among those people that hate Christian Laettner? And what is it about Christian Laettner that you just can't let that go? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I'm not going to lie to you. I like Duke. I like Coach K. I liked Duke. I also liked Jim Boeheim back in the day as well. When I was younger and actually had just more time, I could watch all that college basketball all the time. You know, come on, look, I'm a college kid here. You know, what am I doing here? I'm going to school and I'm doing stuff for my studies, and I'm watching college basketball. It was the life. And I was a big fan of Duke, and I liked several teams, but Duke and UK, that was really something. And so a lot of people that are UK fans hate Christian Laettner, and there's a lot of people that, believe it or not, in this area, there are a lot of people that love North Carolina, a lot of people that love Duke, and I don't know if it's because of the geography a little bit. We're not that far removed from North Carolina. I mean, it's just a few hours down the road. You hit the turnpike, there you go, you can get in. And so what is it about some of these other teams? You would just scratch your head going, hey, you live in West Virginia and you're a Duke fan? Well, television, the brand was on TV. Of course, again, big Coach K fan. I think a lot of people are. And it doesn't hurt Duke. Maybe it hurts in some regards. It doesn't hurt Duke that ESPN shoves Duke down our throats all the time. Isn't that the truth? Duke, North Carolina, when that game doesn't even mean anything, that game is getting shoved down our throats. I will agree with a lot of you on that one. Sometimes you could put that over on ESPNU. That's all right. It's still on the TV. It's fine. It's still Duke, North Carolina. We get it. But, you know, sometimes that can go over on the U if you need to. That can go elsewhere. That doesn't have to be the all-encompassing game all the time. But, of course, North Carolina living on brand reputation here, it seems. And, of course, some shenanigans, if you believe the governor of the state of West Virginia. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, Paul, I think there are a lot of North Carolina fans because Michael Jordan played there. That's very fair. But still to this day, though, you know how kids are with the short attention span. To this day, do you think it's like a lot of older UNC fans because Jordan played there? I mean, that's fair. That's a very good point. It's very fair. I would say a lot of people probably didn't know about those Tar Heels until Jordan played. I mean, there, of course, a lot of people did know about them. But in this day and age, yeah, attention spans are so short. But, you know, when Jordan was there, North Carolina was quite the big deal, still is. And, of course, I just don't know how many people today, younger, coming up, even connect Michael Jordan and North Carolina. How many people connect that Indiana was once a basketball, I don't want to say powerhouse, it was really good, but, you know, Indiana and basketball, that was a big thing. Bobby Knight was the head coach. With the attention spans these days, how many people would actually connect the two? I think we would, though. We're a little bit more connected to these things than probably somebody on average. I do see a lot of kids just wear North Carolina gear. I see a lot of kids wear a lot of gear. That's the thing. There's not this one encompassing college brand, at least in this part of the country, or at least this part of the world, there isn't that one team. I see Marshall gear, I see West Virginia gear, I see Virginia Tech gear, I see different teams gear, and of course Ohio State gear, UK gear, see all of that. I see a smidge of Bobcat gear because, again, we work with people who went to Ohio. We know people who went to Ohio. We know people who went to a few other schools. So, yeah, there's kind of a like here or there. Let's get you an update on softball before we hit the break. Speaking of Ohio, Marshall has taken a 1-0 lead. We're in the middle of the second now with the Herd leading 1-0. So Thundering Herd getting off to a good start. Let's hope that continues. More of your texts coming up, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. On this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union now brings you all the tech that big banks have, but still has that personal touch of a member-owned community credit union. Apple Pay? Got it. Digital wallet? Yep. Message pay by text, online loan payments, even chatting with a real person, not a bot. Open accounts, sign documents, and manage your money all online. It's the big bank tech you need from the local community-minded credit union you trust. Metro Community FCU. Visit metrocommunityfcu.com today.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40%. Help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, Ray Crabtree, 304-736-8181. In Milton, Russ McRae, 304-743-9318. And in Lavalette, Jason Elkins, 304-529-7555. Buddy's All-American Barbecue is now in Milton. Enjoy all your favorite Buddy's classics like pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more on East Main Street in Milton. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, the home of great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings in Huntington and now in Milton.
It's spring. It's spring. Yes, it is spring. That means it's time for a do-over. And that means home repair and fix-up scams are right here. I'm Mike Kurtner, president of Kindred Communications. Being a locally owned company with a voice, I believe it's our obligation to remind you to ask questions when you hire a home repair contractor. If the bid is abnormally low, ask them if they are licensed and insured. Ask for real references. If the person that is working on your house is not properly licensed and insured, you could be liable if they get hurt while doing your fix-up. Enjoy spring. Get those projects done, but don't fail to ask questions.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Our Wednesday edition continues here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line is open. Brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So we've sort of had a mixed bag of what we've been talking about today. Of course, it was prompted by a few things earlier. I'm definitely rooting against North Texas and Furman in the NIT, as I'm pulling for the Red Wolves to go in and beat one of those two teams and continue its journey in the NIT. Of course, I'm surprised I haven't taken too much flack for this one yet, but I am pulling for Troy to beat Kentucky. Sorry, UK fans. It's a Sun Belt thing. I'm just looking for some ways the Sun Belt can elevate itself And of course, I don't know if wins today will equate into elevation tomorrow. Here's the thing. The more I think about this, you could have a bad team this year. You could have a NCAA tournament championship level team next year if you hit that transfer portal and you work it properly. Now, the thing is, how well can you work it compared to other schools? That's going to be the question. And I'm curious to see what happens in Morgantown with NIL, what's going to be the response to West Virginia losing Darian DeVries to Indiana, a program that hasn't seen that much on-court success. Probably compared to West Virginia, WVU did have the more prestigious resume over a certain period of time. But at the end of the day, Indiana is still Indiana, right? And when you think basketball, you think Indiana. You have to. It comes from the Hoosier State. There is a movie made about basketball in the Hoosier State called Hoosiers. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our number. And, of course, high school basketball is going on all across the country. Closer to home, of course, we've got the Sweet 16 coming up in Kentucky, in West Virginia. Class 4A, Spring Valley taking on Beckley. That's coming up tonight at 9 o'clock at the Charleston Coliseum. Huntington St. Joe versus Greater Beckley Christian. That's coming up Thursday at 9. So we're rooting for the Valley tonight, rooting for Huntington St. Joe tomorrow. And let's keep an eye on both. Let's hope that both those teams can make a run. And again, got to root for the local teams. Keeping an eye on softball, the bottom of the second now, Marshall still leads Ohio 1-0. So we're in the bottom of the second, 2 outs. Marshall still on top of Ohio 1-0. We'll keep an eye on that game as the day progresses. And of course, softball team's been looking pretty good. Speaking of Miami, Marshall got a good win against Miami yesterday, 10-7. So I'm hoping that Herd can continue on and just maybe go win the MAC, beat Miami yesterday, can beat Ohio today. That game's going on right now at the Dot. Let's just go ahead and win the MAC. I'll take that completely. 304-396-TALK is our text line, 304-396-8255. We're going to get our final break in, and we're going to keep it open the rest of the way, so there's more time for you on this edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Now is the time to add on a new bathroom or remodel your old one with the latest up-to-date bathroom fixtures from Mutual Wholesalers, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Come in today to Mutual Wholesalers' beautiful showroom and see how your new bathroom will look. Check out Acre by Max. Have a new bathroom this year. Mutual Wholesalers, locally owned and operated, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Call 304-525-9118.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year for March basketball. Frank's has you covered from the Sun Belt to the SEC, NBA to the MLB. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Hi, I'm Nori, and over the years, my mother and I have opened our homes to those who need it most, and it's been so rewarding. I bet you didn't know that some adults who have unfortunately been mistreated need a place to call home in West Virginia. It happens more than you know. They may have some physical or mental limitations, and they need your help. Everyone deserves a place to call their own. I can tell you from my experience, it's worth it.
If you have an open heart and want to open your home, Adult Family Care may be the right fit for you. Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an Adult Family Care Home Finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-960-3377. That's 800-960-3377. 800-960-3377.
Okay, gang. So, chances are there'll never be an emergency ever again.
Mm-hmm.
But, just in case, let's talk about a plan.
Okay.
So, who's gonna do what? Anyone? Yeah, okay, perfect. We'll figure it out as we go. So, who is going to grab the go bag?
What's a go bag? It is a bag we do not have that is filled with things we really need in an emergency.
Guess we won't have to worry about it then.
Ah, good point. So, we all know who to call if something happens then, right?
I'd have to call Jill, Devin, Melissa, Karen, and Bruce.
And I will try to call all of you, but Greg doesn't have a cell phone. Dad's phone will have a dead battery.
No doubt.
And Julie will be on the phone with Jill, Devin, Melissa, Karen, and Bruce.
Well, this is great. I am so glad that we don't have a plan.
I know.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. A public service announcement brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talk Line, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
It's our final segment, today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is our number for the rest of the show. We're getting you set for March Madness. We've got the first four coming up tonight. It's going to be Mount St. Mary's taking on American. That is coming up at 6:40, followed by Xavier and Texas, and that'll follow. You can listen to both those games right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Also on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. And then tomorrow, tournament time begins. High noon. The games begin. No matter where you're at, keep your radio locked. You won't miss anything. We'll have all the action from the start of the tournament to the end of the tournament. And if you're familiar with the NFL's Red Zone channel, you're going to get the idea of what we're going to be able to do tomorrow. We're just going to go all over the country. Doesn't matter where the game is being played. If the best action is going on in one bracket, that's where we're going to go. And then we'll take you back to the other games. So we've got several games on tap for you tomorrow. The entire tournament right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930, and on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. How many of you take off on the first day of March Madness? I'm curious, is that still a thing? Do you do that? Do you take that first day off and you stay home and you watch, or do you just take an early lunch and then not come back to work? You go out, watch the games, spend the entire afternoon, evening watching the games. Now, if you're locally following the Kentucky Wildcats, you know that's going to be an evening game, so you don't necessarily take off for work to do that. But if you're just a college basketball fan, do you take off early to go watch the games, to go spend the day? You know, do you take the first 2 days off for the tournament, or is that something that you do when maybe your team is playing? My team's playing, okay, I'm going to take off early. If you can do that, if that's something you can do at your job, or are you going to be sitting there watching the video streams? Of course, you can listen to the radio, and that's a great way to do it as well. But have you traditionally been able to just take off, go watch games all day, or do you do the whole, I'm watching the game on my tablet, I'm here at the office, but I'm really not paying attention. I am sitting here watching tournament games. I remember going a ways back when video streaming became more prevalent, there was the boss button. Do you remember the boss button? I absolutely love the boss button because you could be watching the video stream of the tournament, and at that point in time, you had to actually sign up and register, and you would then be let in. Your number would be picked, and then, okay, you get into the video stream. Texture says, Paul, I listen to the audio stream at work. I appreciate that. That's how you should do it. Listen to the games on the radio, the audio stream. You can listen to it all day, and then you can go home, watch the games all night, or you can go somewhere after you get off work, watch those games. Or is that more of a Friday thing? Thursday's fun. You're listening, you're paying attention to the games, and then Friday you take off a little early, catch the second half of the bracket, see all the late games. And as I mentioned, locally, it's not going to be a problem for a lot of fans because Kentucky's going to be playing on Friday. That's going to be after 7 o'clock. And if you can't watch that game, we got you covered with our radio coverage on 92.7 and 98.5 The Planet, also on Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. So I'm just curious, how do you keep up with the first couple of days? Because I've known people that have taken off work completely to go home and just sit by the TV all day and watch March Madness. I remember having to buy packages off of DirecTV so I could watch all the games. That used to be a package because once upon a time, not that long ago, you were locked in. CBS locally would show you certain games, and if you didn't like that, too bad. You had to watch what the local CBS affiliate showed you. Now, you have multicast. You have a channel dedicated for every game. And, of course, that partnership with Turner Sports, I thought, was perfect for the NCAA because it spreads the load out. And now, if I want to watch Kentucky, I don't have to wait for Kentucky to come on. I just go to the channel Kentucky's going to be on. Don't have to buy a special package anymore from DirecTV. I don't have to sign up for streaming. And I can just watch the game I want to. Or I can still do sort of that red zone channel type coverage and just keep an eye on everything. And when it comes to tournament time, I like doing that a little bit more just because I don't have a particularly favorite team in the field. Marshall's not in it. West Virginia's not in it. Kentucky probably the closest for a lot of folks to be local, at least in our area. And so, yeah, I have an interest in that game because of Troy. Yes, I'm going to be keeping an eye on that because I want to see how the Sun Belt team does. Same thing with the NIT. Going to keep an eye a little bit on Arkansas State. Not going to, make an appointment to watch that game if it's on and I'm near the TV. I'll look at it. But it used to be for me I would take off work. I'd actually use some vacation time and I would take this time off of work and I would enjoy the week, have some basketball to watch on a Thursday, Friday, watch the tournament. And at that point, again, that's when DirecTV had that package where, okay, I'm spending money so I can watch these early round games and watch this first part of the tournament. I can watch anything I want. Now everything is available. That's the great thing about this. This is the first time in a long time that I think the viewer actually has the most choice. It's not this way at the NFL. Of course, you have to have the Sunday ticket package. You want to watch all the games. NHL is a lot better. I'm sure the NBA is a lot better. But with college basketball, this is the one where we can all sit and watch whatever game we want, listen to whatever game we want, because it's on everywhere. And I'm sure restaurants are going to be busy tomorrow, people taking early lunch and going out and probably not coming back. And I know there's studies on this every year. A lot of productivity lost during this portion of the year because there will be a lot of people that just won't come back from lunch. If you have that type of job where you don't have to be necessarily in the office, you can get away with it. You might not come back, or you're taking some time off. do people still call in sick because they want to watch the game? Does that still happen? This isn't getting out of like 11th grade here. Do people still do that? Call in sick. Sorry, I can't come in today. I'm feeling sick. Convenient, right? No, I think people just go lunch, and if you're someone who can be out in the field, you can get away with that. You can make it a working lunch. But whatever your situation is, we got you covered. It's right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And, of course, you can listen to it as well on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. You can stream everything. We've got you covered. Just head over to our website at WRVC.com, and we'll be right there with all the games. Let's get you updated on Marshall softball taking on Ohio. The game is now in the bottom of the third. Marshall has scored. Bottom of the third, 1 out. Marshall leads 2-0 over the Ohio Bobcats. That game going on at the dot as we speak. So we'll keep an eye on that. Follow me on X for updates. When that game's over, we'll share the update as well. Of course, the Thundering Herd looking for some momentum, getting close to conference play. As the Herd right now, been looking pretty strong, to be honest with you. Marshall's look good as of late. And of course, you can put some of that on the series win against Louisiana. The first time that has happened, and I think, didn't I see the graphic that Coach Z was she was in college? No, I'm sorry. She was in high school. Coach Z was still in high school the last time that Louisiana lost a series in conference play. That one hit me. When I saw that, I thought to myself, well, how long is Coach? Wow, Coach isn't that old, but that's been a long time since she was in high school playing. So softball's been doing pretty good. So if you get a chance, head out to the dot. See, I will give you the permission slip to take off work early and head to the dot to watch Marshall softball. That's what I'm going to give you, the permission slip to go watch the softball team. Hey, as a reminder, this is going to be our last show of the week because, again, we got March Madness coming up starting tomorrow. We go on the air at noon, and then we will be all day, all night, wall-to-wall coverage. It's the best time of the year, isn't it? Absolutely the best time of the year. See, I can leave early because I don't have the show tomorrow, so I can leave early to watch some more games. If you can't leave early, we got you covered. Just keep your radios locked right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930, and then again on our other stations, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. So we'll have all of the action coming up. Going to be a busy day for tomorrow. But don't forget, we actually have basketball action coming up tonight at 6:30. It will be Mount St. Mary's taking on American, and then Xavier will take on Texas. And that's coming up tonight. Doubleheader starts 6:30 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. That's going to do it for this edition of the show. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Old habits, sorry. Be back with you on Monday here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.